If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Player Performance on this Saturday. It is Saturday, July the 26th, 2025. The morning show, the Shark, and the Gun. Another Saturday in the summer. We got a huge card today. A couple tough cards over the weekend so far. But you know what happens? When it goes bad, then it goes right. Gunz, let's dominate this card. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, way to lead into it. I mean, I posted it on Telegram today. I don't hide from nothing. I had the worst day of MLB this season. Friday was absolutely terrible. Sorry for the VIPs out there. I think I went 1-8. Just couldn't hit. Up was down, left was right, in was out. It just sometimes it happens that way. You can go 15-0 in 2 days, and then the next day you could go 1-8. It just works that way at the end. It's a long-term game, not a short-term game. We come back very strong. And I'll talk to a lot of people. A lot of people had some bad days. You know what that means, though, typically? Because when I have a really bad day, it means I'm ready for a run. So Saturday, Sunday, watch out for the Gunz. I'm ready to get into the card. Let's give it to the people, Shark.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, baseball is such a unique sport. You got 162 games. You got 15 games 5 days a week. It really is just a snapshot to the patience you have to have as a bettor and just the intelligence of the sample size. And what that really means in terms of your bankroll, please manage your bankroll. You need 100 units at least in a roll to sustain variance. I took 2 losses yesterday, both by 1 run, 1-0. It's just unavoidable. Some of these games really do take on a 50-50 split, but we're here. We are now. It is Saturday. MLB Player Performance on this Saturday starts now.
I live the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights, where you at, ballers? Ladies love me and men, they want a penny, they pay to come see me, where you at, ballers?
Saturdays are for sending it. First game on the card, only matinee, interestingly enough. Phillies at Yankees, 105 MLB Network National in the Bronx. Ranger Suarez at Marcus Stroman. You saw it last night. Gunz and I both had the over in that game. Philadelphia really lit up the Yankees after the 5th inning, 12-5. As I said, only matinee on the card. I'm not entirely sure why. We're seeing interesting scheduling here post All-Star break. Usually during these Saturdays, we have a few 1s, 2s, a cluster at 4. Not today. Only game at 1 o'clock. Gunz, any thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of like it that way on a Saturday. Let's not rush into the games. Let's wait till 4 o'clock until we can kind of get situated, get our day done, as they say. Maybe you have to mow the lawn. Maybe you have to clean up a little bit. Then you can go and enjoy a little bit of baseball. But in this game here, you got Ranger Suarez. If you know anything about Ranger Suarez, the people, at least the Philadelphia team, has shown up for him. He's 9-3 straight up in his last 12 starts. He's also an under pitcher, 8-0 to the under in his last 8 starts. He's 5-0 to the under in his last 5 road starts, and all those were 8 or less. So take that with a grain of salt because we're looking at a 9 here. However, you're going against Stroman on the other side, right? 5-2 straight up, 6-1 to the over in his starts this year. But he's 2-1 to straight up and 2-1 to the over as a dog this year. But you look at the totals in that game, we're looking at 9.5s and 10s. So this total is kind of low for a Stroman start, which would lead me to believe we're going to be seeing less runs than we saw yesterday. We took the over yesterday. We're going to switch it back. If I have a lean, not an official play, of course, I may not touch this game because it's just too damn early for me. I think this is going to be a little bit of a low-scoring affair rather than high. Give me Philly, New York Yankees under just as a lean. That's the way I'd play this game.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack here. And, when you start to look at this game, this is really going to be a conversation we go through most of these teams as we talk for the next 45 to an hour here. A lot of these teams really just were above their pay grade early season. Yankees were one of them. They're currently 9 games over 500. They were 20. This team lost Juan Soto in the offseason. Garrett Cole had reconstructive arm surgery. Really upstart young pitcher Luis Gil has not taken the mound for this team this year. They're very much just a bunch of guys kind of put together on this roster. They were way above their average. Of course, Yankee fans were saying in April and May, oh, look, we hit gold. It's 162. Things change. Sometimes they take a while to flip in the other direction. That's kind of what you're seeing now from the Yankees. And again, you saw it last night. I think there's just a class difference between these two teams. I think Philadelphia is significantly better than the Yankees. Of course, should have gone to the World Series 2 years ago. Extremely egregious melt at Citizens Bank Park in the fall of 2023 versus Arizona. But I think they're a superior team. 1 point on Ranger Suarez. Last weekend on this show, I gave you guys the Angels to beat the Phillies at the bank as an underdog with Jose Soriano. And I told you one thing. Ranger Suarez off a break is terrible. He takes a little while to get going. This is where he bounces back. And really direct corollary spot within this season. He did open the season at home on a Sunday afternoon and get rocked against Arizona. The following start, not coincidentally, he went on the road a Saturday afternoon at an American League opponent, Cleveland, and he laid the same number, minus 130 to Tanner Bybee, and the Phillies won the game 7-1. There's your under for the gun. I think Philadelphia takes it. Early free play for you guys here if you want to bet. Take the Phillies and let's cash. Keeping it moving here. I did misspeak slightly. There is actually a makeup game here. We're going to wait on this one for a second. Makeup game at 2:40 Eastern. Doubleheader this afternoon into tonight in Kansas City. The game last night was rained out. We're seeing Michael Wacha versus Gavin Williams. Very tight line here. Wacha laying minus 115. Gavin Williams is a home pitcher. He does not travel well. Wacha, bit of a journeyman, definitely a veteran, hard read. Honestly, tough game. Gunz, any thoughts?
I mean, I did have a read on it yesterday, but let's just paraphrase that. I was on a bad run there. I thought Cleveland was the better spot here because he's just a fade Wacha type of element. He's 1-7 straight up in his last 8 starts, 1-7-1 in first 5s in his last 9. It's funny because KC has only held the lead once in their last 9 games after 5 innings versus a divisional opponent as well. So this team cannot seem to get off the schneid versus their own division. Also, KC 9-2 to the under in their last 11 games at home versus a divisional opponent. So maybe there is a kind of a look or a lean toward the under here. Cleveland is 9-3 straight up versus divisional opponents this year alone. So I think this is a better spot here for Cleveland. However, Gavin Williams on the mound. Cleveland just 2-6 in his last 8 starts. And he's got some line data on this one too, plus 100 on the road. Cleveland did lose that game, but Williams actually pitched kind of well. He only gave up 1 run in 5 innings, so he does know this lineup, and he can withhold them to a low-scoring affair. So maybe we cut this game in half. I'm leaning towards the first 5 with Cleveland, and maybe the under in the full game. That's probably the 2 looks I would have on this. I don't think it's going to make my card, though. I just don't want to mess with game 1 of this, I guess this 2-game split.
Yeah, we oftentimes talk about certain games just categorically that we don't like. Some of these bullpen games involving a starter making their major league debut. This fits the same conversation. When you get a rain out, you get a game the next day. First of all, both pitchers were expected to pitch yesterday. So the psychology of that is, do they keep their momentum, their focus overnight? Do they somehow fade away? They weren't expecting to pitch in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday. These guys do prepare their mind days in advance. So when things do change pretty drastically, you can oftentimes see completely different results. This is going to be a really tough game to handicap, but we do like Kansas City in general against Cleveland within this division. Kansas City, playoff team from last year, far better run differential, started out flat. We're going to have a deeper conversation with the second game involving Chris Bubich versus Tanner Bybee. This game is a bit of a toss. We give you looks on every game, MLB player performance, and we will keep it moving. We're going to the night games, and we're going to a real marquee matchup here. Blue Jays Tigers 6-10 in Detroit, Comerica Park. Kevin Gausman at reigning Cy Young winner Tarek Skubal. Big line for a reason. Skubal lays 200 to almost every single team at home, no matter how high quality they are. This is a pretty egregious line, if I had to say so myself. When you see the Tigers laying 200 to the current best record in the American League, I mean, it speaks to margin. And Gunz and I were talking about this before the show. Kevin Gausman is very unpredictable. He definitely has bad starts in him. I don't entirely see it here, however. Detroit cannot hit the baseball right now. They're very flat. They're one of these teams like the Yankees that started out way too hot. I got a lot of thoughts on this game. I don't really know if I have conviction to a side, however. Gunz, can you get anywhere in this game?
Not on a side. I mean, because Toronto's kind of performed well, and you're dealing with a team that is just absolutely struggling in Detroit. I mean, they're just absolutely bad. Even though Skubal is their best pitcher and has cultivated wins with them, I just don't trust them at all from a side perspective because you have Gausman that is 8-3 straight up in his last 11 games. The under is kind of enticing, though. I think this is kind of where you need to go into this direction because Toronto was 4-1 to the under in Gausman's last 5 starts. And you have a low total here, which kind of gives you a high indicator that we're probably looking at something low here. Also, Toronto was 7-2 to the under in Gausman road games. So maybe over pitcher at home. Different story when he goes on the road, but then you got Skubal. Skubal 13-2 in his last 15 starts. Detroit is he's 3-1 straight up and 3-1 to the under versus the AL East. Totals in those games have been 7.5. So, like I said, this is kind of that Skubal line as far as the total is concerned. And then you just got to look at the Detroit bats as of late. They've only averaged 2.6 runs per game in their last 12 games. This is a team that was leading the division, looking at high hopes, just absolutely streaking. And all of a sudden, you're just watching this team fall off a cliff. And it's not the pitching that's falling off the cliff. It's the bats. They can't score runs. So if they can't score runs, maybe it's correlated to a total here. The only way I'd play this is under the total is 7. You're seeing 7s on the board right now. I think that's the way I play this game. Detroit, Toronto, under 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. The number certainly speaks. But as I said, Gausman for me is very unpredictable. And Skubal actually has been worse at home in recent history. Since June 1st, 31 1/3 innings pitched, 25 hits, 7 walks, 11 earned runs. Of course, 11 earned runs in 31 1/3 is not exactly terrible. But for his standards, he has had more runners on base. And just one point on Detroit. Detroit is sitting here 60-45. They are still 7.5 games up in the Central. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They're 1-9 last 10. Just to really give you guys a snapshot to how overvalued this team is versus preseason expectations, go back to February. The books had their preseason total at 83.5. Basically a 500 team. I mean, that is mind-blowing. I'm looking at right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They had the 15th highest projection in the sport. They are projected to be total middle ground, actually behind the Twins, Mariners, Rangers, and others. So don't be fooled by what you saw in the first half. Almost every single position player overperformed versus expectations. You're seeing an extreme downward movement. That's actually where they're supposed to go versus projections. So just be careful buying low on Detroit. It's theoretically a buy low in the small window, but this conversation needs to be the large window, which is a continued sell high. So be careful of Detroit. Gunz likes the under, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, Interleague Baseball, Diamondbacks, Pittsburgh. Game 2, PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Haney hosting Merrill Kelly. 2 veterans over 30. Merrill Kelly didn't make his debut until he was in his late 20s. He did pitch in the KBO for a few years. Shout to KBO bettors now and in the quarantine. It got us through 2020. Certainly helped Merrill Kelly get to a great point in his career. Tough game here. This is really going to be a game similar to last night, in my opinion. As I mentioned, we backed the Pirates last night incorrectly. They lost 1-0 in 11 innings. I think the Diamondbacks really are sellers at the deadline. I think they're going to gut their team to a certain degree and try to reboot. Corbin Burns, their biggest acquisition in the offseason, on the extended injured list. Zach Gallen has looked absolutely terrible. Basically, everything this team was trying to do coming out of spring training has just kind of gone down the drain. This is why the line is so short. They should be favored by more than minus 130. Haney is a complete gas can. He's very unpredictable. Gunz, the line speaks to Pittsburgh. I just don't know if I can get there.
Yeah, you're right. And I just shout out to Brandon. If this is really true, we're hitting every single spot, man. Even the dudes in the cage watching Shark in the Gun on a beautiful Saturday. And I don't know how you're doing it, man. Are they letting you run the TV over there? How does it work out there, in Gen Pop or whatever they say? But let's talk about this play here with Arizona versus Pittsburgh. Yeah, you're right. It reminds me of that meme from Fury Road where you got the guy that's driving the truck and he's looking, he goes, that's bait. This is bait. This is an Arizona bait line, especially with Merle Kelly on the mound, and where Arizona has performed well for him, especially in road starts. 6-4 on the road, but he's 7-1 to the under in his last 8 road starts. He's also 3-0 straight up in Kelly's road starts as a favorite. So a little bit concerning line here, especially with Andrew Heaney on the mound, because Pittsburgh has underperformed when he's been the pitcher. 3-11 straight up in his starts this year. Heaney has pitched well as a short dog, though. 3-3 straight up in those situations as a short dog. He's 3-1 straight up in his last 4 as a short dog. So maybe the books are hitting this line correctly, knowing that Heaney as a short dog seems to step his game up and play well. Also, you got to understand that Heaney is a lefty. And if you look at the win percentage versus left-handed pitching with the Arizona D-backs, they've won 40% of their games versus lefties. But the concerning factor is they're losing these games, but they're 5th in RBIs versus lefties. So I don't understand the anomaly with that, because typically you would see low RBI rate and it would correlate to the win percentage, but you're not seeing it here. I'm leaning towards the Pittsburgh side, just like Shark says, just on the sheer fact that this is Heaney as a short dog. He's performed very well, and it's just a suspect line. The only way I play this are Pittsburgh or pass. It sounds fishy. It sounds gross, but I think Pittsburgh, after that extra inning loss last night, Pittsburgh can stay with this Arizona team. So that's the way I take this one.
Yeah, without question. I give a shout out to the chat. I'm drinking a little coffee here on this morning. Black coffee, fresh ground. It's excellent. It's elite. It's conversational. If you guys drinking coffee, type what you're drinking in the chat. Let's get a great conversation going. We know it's only 8:22 Pacific. You guys on the West Coast, wake up, enjoy the Shark in the Gun. We got the energy for you guys. And one final point on this game. You look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a team in progress. Obviously, Paul Skeens, generational ace. But Pittsburgh is egregiously awful on the road this year. 13-37, one of the worst teams in the sport. Talk about polarized home versus road. They're actually 4 games over 500 at PNC Park, 29-25. Very representative. And as I mentioned, I think Arizona, truthfully, is just selling their team. The morale in that clubhouse is going to be absolutely zero going forward for probably the rest of the season. I think they're really going to bottom out. As I mentioned, Burns is on the IL. Gallen looks nothing like his old self. Sell the Diamondbacks basically every day for the rest of the season, in my opinion, and we would lean towards Pittsburgh this afternoon. Next game on the card, 6:40, Rays-Reds, Game 2 in Cincinnati, also interleague baseball. Ryan Pepio at Andrew Abbott. I backed the Rays last night incorrectly. Zach Littell looked absolutely terrible. I was actually very surprised by that outcome. I think we might see a surprising outcome this afternoon, which, in my opinion, would be the Rays winning this game. We talked about this last week. You want to buy Pepio at home at the minor league stadium, George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. You don't want to buy him on the road. He's 1-7. Key point, only win on the road at the National League as an underdog. And if you really look at his stats, for a guy that's 1-7 on the road, his ERA is only 3.8. So he got shelled once at Baltimore, where Baltimore scored 22 runs. Other than that, he's been actually very above average, just gotten no run support. And as I mentioned, 1 win at the National League. Gunz, I think Tampa Bay could get a dub this afternoon. Any thoughts?
I'm not playing anything of this one because Andrew, it seems like Cincinnati just shows up for him no matter what the line is. I looked at every single angle, and Cincinnati has just performed well for him, even when it was a suspect line. 8-3 straight up in his last 11 starts, and he's coming off a loss as well. So, yeah, maybe there is some regression due, but we have to see a little bit bigger sample size before I really buy into the regression. Cincinnati is 9-2 in first 5s in Abbott's last 11 starts as well. 7-0 straight up when Abbott is a favorite of -130 or less. So when he's a short favorite, he seems to be able to get the job done. And then you got a Cincinnati 4-1 straight up versus AL teams when Abbott is on the bump as well. And you said it, like Pepio, great at home. He's been terrible on the road. He's 1-7 straight up, 7-1 to the under in his starts on the road. 1-4 in first fives when the total is 9 or more. All were home though, so take note of that. None of those were as a road, on the road at all. Highest total in all of Pepio starts is today on the road. So I'm not going to be playing anything with this game just because the line is just sheerly short and suspect here with Abbott on the mound. I feel like it should have been stronger knowing that Abbott is underperformed on the road this season. Just a complete pass for me. I'm not going to play this one.
Yeah, I think you meant Pepio underperformed on the road this year, right?
I did say that, right?
You said Abbott underperformed on the road. Just
Pepio. Okay.
Just keeping it clean.
You listen to me way too much. I'm like over here, like just fiddling around as you're talking. I would never catch that, but I digress. Yes, that's what I meant. Pepio, road, bad. That's it.
This coffee will lock anybody into the absolute clearest of mindsets. But as I said, last night I miscapped the game. And I think when you see games, the first game go kind of off grid from projection, I was talking about it yesterday. Actually, Burnsy was on here with Coach Rick on the Friday afternoon version of MLB Player Performance. And I was saying Littell had not been favored outside of the division once all year. So for me, it was a very strong line. When books totally miss the favorite with Tampa Bay in a blowout loss, they're very capable of missing the line here, which would be Cincinnati home favorite, where the underdog is going to function well in this series. And I think one point on this, zooming way off this game, a lot of times that's just interleague baseball. The books don't really have a grip on this matchup. It's not a rivalry. They're not historically data efficient or abundant here at all. And as I mentioned, Pepio has actually had good numbers on the road, just got nothing out of his effort. I think he's going to perform better here. And speaking of getting something out of their effort, Abbott has been way too clean all year. I've been talking to the prop master about this for months. This guy was an all-star. He had a complete game shutout on the road. His last two environments at home against an American League opponent, he faced Cleveland and Minnesota, middle of May and middle of June. He honestly was not very good in either of those starts. Didn't make it out of the fifth inning, or the sixth inning, I should say. 8 hits against, 5 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks. I think you're going to see Abbott labor. I think the league's catching on to this guy. I think Pepio is very due to correlate back to when he won his only road game at San Diego. Make sure you guys, as I said, manage your bankroll. A lot of variance in these games. Tampa Bay would be the look for me, however. Keeping it moving, a lot more to talk about on this card. More interleague baseball. Rockies at Orioles, 7:05 p.m. in Baltimore. I know Gunz is in, as he likes to call it, the DMV, local area around Washington, D.C. Baltimore off an egregious loss last night, 6-5 Rockies. Baltimore so injured this year. I was looking at the injury report, and it kind of reminded me just how injured this team is. Rutschman, Mountcastle, Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, obviously losing Corbin Burns in the free agent market, Tyler Wells. I could go on. Jorge Mateo. I mean, you talk about just the injury bug just invading a clubhouse. That all being said, Antonio Sensatella is on the mound for the Rockies this afternoon. And I think that does lean towards Baltimore, regardless of the injuries. Gunz, any thoughts?
I'm just going to give point counterpoint. Now, I'm not going to be playing this game at all because why would I even want to put money, hard-earned dollars, as they say, on the Colorado Rockies? You have to pick your spots. It's more correlated on the fact that Baltimore, as a heavy juice favorite, they've just underperformed on the run line. I'll get to that in a second, but we're going to talk about Sensatella and why I wouldn't back him either. He's 2-7 straight up into the run line in his last 9 road starts, so he's underperformed on the road. He's 5-2 to the run line in his last 7, though, however, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he's keeping the games a little bit more competitive nowadays. We'll have to see. Colorado's also 2-1 to the run line in Sensatella starts versus the AL East this year. Trevor Rogers, he's a lefty. And if you know anything about the Colorado Rockies, though, worst winning percentage versus lefties, I think it's at 14.7%. It's just absolutely abysmal. Then you have Baltimore 5-2 straight up and 5-2 to the under, and Rogers starts this year. He's also 4-0-3 in first fives, if you want to get into that. And he's also has 5 shutouts in those 7 games, though, in 5 innings. So he's just pitched very well. Kind of been their ace for them as of late. Highly juiced number. for Rogers, highest of the year. But when I talk about the run line, high juice numbers with the Baltimore Orioles, 0-5 to the run line when they are favored of minus 175 or more this season. So as much as it's gross, I do disagree. I don't think Baltimore is going to be scoring a lot. I mean, they may win this game, but I think there's going to be some gap. I know they lost last night. There is a bounce back element there. But if I had to lean on this one, it would just be on the sheer fact that Colorado performs well on the run line, better than Baltimore in this situation. Colorado plus 1.5, lean as the play.
Well, Gunn and I rarely disagree. I have Baltimore minus 1.5 as an official play. I'll give to you guys here. One really important point outside of just the large scale data here, which I think is zooming a little more into Sensatella. Sensatella is 2-7 straight up on the road, 2 outright wins, 7 losses, all of them by 2 or more runs. So he either wins outright or gets blown out. And Trevor Rogers here, obviously coming across from the National League last year from the Marlins, he does have some matchup data against the Rockies. And he has one home start this year. It was a Saturday, July the 12th against Miami. He took a loss, 6-0. But here's the key point. Miami is actually a very upstart, scrappy team this year, very unlike Colorado. And the pitcher in that game was Jansen Junk. For those of you guys who follow Miami and this pitcher, Jansen Junk, elite pitcher name, I should say, in 2025, he's actually been great on the road. So you're seeing a totally opposite environment. Jansen Junk, great on the road. Sensatella, terrible. And Rogers actually was not particularly poor against Miami. 6 2/3 innings pitched, only 2 hits, 1 earned run. It was really just Junk locking down the Baltimore lineup. I think Baltimore is going to explode this afternoon against Sensatella and get some margin. So disagreement here, conversation wins, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, no disagreement here. Braves, Rangers, Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. Kumar Rocker hosting Grant Holmes. We made some jokes early season about Kumar Rocker and his name. We're not joking anymore. This guy looks great. He is 5-0 at home. I don't think it goes the opposite direction tonight. Gunz, I believe you align.
Yeah, completely. It's Kumar Rocker at home as a favorite. That's all you need to know. Granted, I think he's only been a dog once at home this season, but he's going against Grant Holmes. If you know anything about Grant Holmes, the Atlanta Braves have underperformed in every one of his starts. Maybe it's him that's underperformed, but I digress. 2-8 straight up into the run line in Holmes' last 10 starts, just to give you an indicator there. Also, the under has been a trend when Holmes has been on the mound, 8-1 to the under, when the total is 8.5. I think we're seeing that here on the boards now. Didn't check that one beforehand. Yes, we're looking at the same type of number here on the total. Then you got Kumar Rocker. Now, Kumar Rocker is 5-1 to the under in his last 6 starts. He's also 5-0 straight up, 5-0 to the under in his home starts this year. He's undefeated in this positions, and 4 of those wins were as a favorite. Like I said before, once as a dog, he did get the victory. Also, you got to look at Texas, 8-1 in their last 9 home games. They've been absolutely red hot at home, and they're 7-3 straight up versus NL teams at home this season. So all the numbers and all the trends and everything in between is telling you to go take Kumar Rocker today, and it is my favorite play today. Give it to the people. Give me Texas money line full game as a play.
Yeah, this is a great look. I agree with the gun here. And just to jump off that one point, this is where we want to talk about the run differential in terms of some of these teams. Atlanta is just one of these teams like Baltimore who's just so injured. I mean, you talk about just brutal, particularly for the pitching staff. Grant Holmes has not been great on the road, as Gunz mentioned. He's also 0-1 as a dog at the American League. Only time took a loss at Boston, 7-6. Versus Giolito. Same exact line structure. I think you're going to see a lot of runs tonight, particularly from the Texas side. And again, speaking of runs and run differential, Texas is one of the biggest buy teams in the sport when you look at their record versus their run differential. They're currently sitting 4 games over 500, 54-50. Their run differential is plus 66. I mean, that is projected to be way better than just 4 games over 500. And you have to remember, this is a World Series team from a couple years ago. This is not basketball. It's not football. Obviously, this is much more analytics baseball, but there is emotion in the sport. You know, when you win the World Series 2 years ago, you weren't really expected to do it. Maybe there's just some fatigue for this team. It's just emotional fatigue. It's hard to get up early season. They are turning a corner now. I think they actually have projection to be a playoff team when all is said and done in late September, early October. So this is really a top spot for Texas. Take Texas and let's cash. Next game on the card, Interleague Baseball, Battle of Chicago, Southside right field, White Sox Cubs game 2. Interesting game here. Cade Horton on the road at Aaron Savali. I said it last week. Aaron Savali seems to have a new team, a new address every 2 months. Last year, about this time, he faced the Cubs 2 teams ago. He was on the Rays. Then he went to the Brewers. Here he is on the White Sox. He's been scrappy at home. Horton has not looked good on the road, particularly at American League opponents. I could see the White Sox keeping it close. Gunz, any thoughts?
I can tell you why Savali continues to move is because every team wants to put him in middle relief because he's just been shit as a starter and he refuses to not be a starter. So they move him to team. And I think he's had his last chance here with the Chicago White Sox, unless they send him to the Rockies or something like that. But I digress. Let's talk about these 2 matchups. Cade Horton on the mound. Chicago's kind of underperformed when he's been on the bump, 2-5 straight up in his last 7 starts. And they've lost his last 3 on the road. But like I said, Savali, Chicago White Sox can't get it done with him. 1-7 straight up in his last 8 starts, but he's 6-2 to the under. If you want to look at trends in those 8, I just don't want to trust each pitcher on this one. I got burned on the under yesterday with 2 under pitchers, and really the White Sox just absolutely crushed the Chicago Cubs. We did talk about this earlier on the show. Is like maybe looking at some of these teams. Look at what their win totals were before the beginning of the season. If you locked in some win totals on that one, if they're exceeding significant expectation, no, there's going to be regression to the mean eventually because these lines are supposed to be sharp within 1 to 2 games of each other, up or down. So if some of these teams are exceeding expectations, look for regression to come, and the Cubs could be fitting that, and we're seeing that as of late with their numbers. I think they're 1-4 in their last 5. So not a team I'm willing to trust on the Cubs side. And of course, I don't trust the Chicago White Sox with my money, especially with Savali on the mound.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting how the Tigers and the Cubs are pretty much, from a statistical standpoint, almost the same team. Both had the best record in their league in the first half by pretty significant margin at one point, and both are falling down here precipitously. When you look at the actual futures market, I said it with the Tigers. The Tigers were projected 83.5, right around 500. The Cubs were projected 85.5, and they're currently 60-43. That is a projection to 94.4 wins. So as currently constructed, the Cubs are 8.9 wins above the preseason pace, and I just don't think they're sustainable. 1, I don't think the roster is good enough. 2, I don't think the pitching staff is good enough, particularly with Justin Steele still injured. But I think it's also just a snapshot to the competitive aspect of this sport. This is one of the first years in a long time that most teams, actually every team except for the Dodgers, was projected preseason under 94 wins. And what that means is there's a ton of competitive parity in the middle. And the Cubs are in a brutal division, if we're being honest. The NL Central is a bloodbath. The Brewers have been scorching hot. The Reds are very upstart with Terry Francona and some young pitchers in the lineup. St. Louis is actually performing better than people expected. And as I mentioned, Pittsburgh 29-25 at home with Paul Skeens and others. This is just not where you want to continue to back the Cubs. One final point on this. Horton did actually face the White Sox this season at home on May 16th. He did not pitch particularly well. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs by Miguel Vargas for the White Sox. And the line was heavy there for the Cubs. They did blow them out 13-3, minus 235. This jumps all the way down to minus 170. Bunch of guys in the chat giving really sharp commentary about plus 1.5. I think this is going to be a tight game tonight. I would lean towards plus 1.5 White Sox if we wanted to give you guys an angle in this game. Be careful of these big-time teams. They might not be as big-time as they once looked. Take the White Sox plus 1.5. Let's cash. Next game on the card, Marlins Brewers in Milwaukee. Game 2 of this series, Jose Quintana against Jansen Junk. I was just talking about how good this guy is on the road. Here he is again on the road. I think he's going to pitch well tonight. The Marlins are definitely a bye team. The Brewers were way, way too hot. Brewers are another one of those teams where they caught their wind recently. Expect them to come down now, too. You saw it yesterday afternoon. 5-1 loss with Freddie Peralta on the bump. Gunz, is Junk going to do it again and get a dub on the road?
I think so. I think this is probably going to make my card here. Jansen Junk. Sometimes you just got to trust the magic of this guy. Miami is 5-1 straight up in Junk starts. And even in first fives, the games have been very close. But the key with Miami, and I've been watching a lot of these box scores with Miami, all they have to do is keep it within 1 or 2 runs in a lot of these cases after 5 innings. Then they get to the bullpens. And then it seems like that Miami lineup, youthful, they got a lot of good bats. They end up getting to the relievers in a lot of cases. And then you start seeing this Miami team have the lead, especially on the road. However, they are facing Jose Quintana, 6-2 straight up in his last 8 starts. So you have 2 pitchers going up against each other here. However, if you look at Miami, they're just red hot on the road, 13-3 straight up in their last 16 road games. Sometimes you just have to trust the stronger road team. In this Miami team. There's just something special about them, and I don't know what it is. And you got to look at the Brewers. Brewers were just running red hot for a long time. Granted, they've lost 2 out of their last 3, especially going on that very good momentum run. I think we're starting to see this team go from here to down. So I think if we're going to start buying the down, let's buy it now and get some plus money here with Jansen Junk on the mound. I think this is a Miami spot all day long. Miami full game as a play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game for me. I'm probably not going to get official with this, but again, I do think this is Junk just performing well. The guy's late 20s, so he's not like this guy you haven't heard of that's 22, like coming out of college. He's been a professional pitcher for quite a while. His best stuff this year has come on the road as a starter. He's actually been featured in a few bullpen games as the second or third leg where he actually has not pitched as well. He's been very good as a starter, and I think specific to this division, he has 1 road start where he did start in the first inning at the NL Central. It was July 7th at Cincinnati. Similar line structure. Brady Singer laid around -145, and Miami handled him 5-1. Junk was great. 6 innings pitched, only 1 hit, 0 earned runs. I honestly think this is definitely looking towards Miami.
He's a former Brewer too, right? I think Junk was a Brewer pitcher.
I don't know. I don't have that one in the memory bank. But the only thing that's keeping me off of this, if I'm being perfectly honest, Jose Quintana has also been very good at home outside of the division. He's 4-0 straight up. He did beat Detroit, San Diego, and recently the Dodgers. So this is a conversation that Gunz and I have had for years on our shows with football and basketball on X. And we see you guys on X hanging out with us right now. But sometimes there's just a great angle for both sides of the game. So just as much as I like Junk, I do like Quintana in this spot. I actually think the under is probably the best look. I think both pitchers will perform well here. Gunz, definitely looking at Miami. I think the under is probably the best look. And
he played 2 years with he was a middle reliever for Milwaukee. That's how my brain works. 2023, 2024. So a little bit of a homecoming here for Mr. Junk.
It's Saturday morning. We're drinking coffee, and Gunz is pulling anecdotal information about Jansen Junk being a middle reliever for the Brewers a couple years ago. That's why you tail this guy, because he remembers. You guys know I remember almost everything. We love to do it, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, divisional baseball, 7:10 in Houston. Astros A's game 3. Interesting stuff here. You saw one of the best games in MLB history last night. Nick Kurtz, 24-year-old from Wake Forest, 4 home runs, I believe 19 total bases. Legendary stuff. The A's are kind of the same conversation as the White Sox. Been awful for a while, showing signs of improvement. Noticeable young talent on the roster. I said this last week about Hunter Brown. When Hunter Brown goes bad, he stays bad. He actually did not pitch particularly well last weekend at Seattle. Houston won the game, not because Brown was great. They just hammered down with 11 runs against the Mariners pitching staff. I don't think Brown's going to pitch well here again today, Gunz. Any thoughts?
Yeah, that's my worry about this one. That's why this game is just a significantly hard pass. Jacob Lopez seems like the Athletics have really performed when he's been when he's been on the bump. 6-2 straight up in his last 8. Also, this is the lowest total in all of Lopez's starts, by the way. He did face Houston back on June 19th. He was a plus 132 dog at home, and then the total in that was 10, which pushed. So now you're seeing a lower total here, which is justified because you're facing Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown is 8-2 straight up in their last 10 starts, 6-2 straight up at home. But Brown has lost his last 2 home starts. So I think there's going to be some regression here from Brown, like Shark alluded to. He did face Oakland on a similar line structure at minus 227. They did win that game 11-1. So this is why it's keeping me off this game. While I want to fade Brown, I just don't think this is the position to do it. I'm seeing the total here. Actually, the line start to dip down minus. It's getting to minus 175 to minus 190. So there's probably some sharper money hitting on the Athletics here, and it's justified with Lopez on the mound. But the Athletics just absolutely thumped Houston last night. So that's kind of keeping me off there. So this is just a hard pass for me altogether. Just as watch and enjoy.
Yeah, real tough game. Real tough game. As you mentioned, 11-1 victory for Brown already at home this year against the A's lineup. But this is a shorter line. I think it does speak to the A's. I think, again, Houston's another team that was a little too hot in the first half. Still sitting here first in the division, 5 up on the Mariners, 60-44. What were the Astros' number preseason? 87.5. So this is Yankees, this is Tigers, this is Cubs, this is Astros, this is Brewers. Every one of these teams has caught a significant heater, if you want to call it that, over about 20 to 30 games. And they're all projected to come down in the next 45 to 50 games. It's just the data of this sport as you have to expand across 162 games. And I said this last week, and I'll say it again, but I actually went back and researched my comment about Brown. And I said last year he had a cluster and he didn't recover. Last year, between April 5th and May 5th, 5 out of 6 starts, he looked awful. So he's had 3 bad ones, and it did span the All-Star break. Last year, it took him 6 starts to figure it out. So just keep that in mind. He's a young guy. He's got good stuff. He's clearly heady. When he gets into the weeds, like I said last week, he doesn't quickly find his way out. So be careful here. I think you might see more runs. Again, it seems square, 15-3 last night. I think this could be just inflated again. Tough game, but be careful of the Astros and Hunter Brown. Next game on the card, not exactly the best game, if I'm being honest here. We got Washington at Minnesota. It's a great game from the standpoint of we love Joe Ryan. The guy's an absolute ace. But this is just your classic overpriced line. Mitchell Parker is sketchy, unpredictable, has actually pulled a couple crazy wins out of his ass on the road. Outright win at San Diego and the Angels as a significant underdog, both outside of the division. You want to back Ryan. You don't like the price. Parker, as I said, could show up here. I don't know. Gunz, any thoughts?
I like the price of Minnesota, but I don't like the price on the money line. I like the price on the run line. I think both pitchers, one's bad in this situation and one's very good. With Mitchell Parker, he's 3-7 straight up into the run line in his last 10 starts. So that gives you an indicator that when he gets beat, he doesn't get beat by a run. He gets beat by more than a run. Also, Washington's 0-3 straight up into the run line, and Parker starts as a dog of plus 170 or more, which you have in this situation. Joe Ryan on the other side just performs well on heavy juice. However, Minnesota is 3-4 straight up into the run line in Ryan's last 7 starts, but he hasn't been a huge significant favorite in those positions. When he is a heavy juice favorite of minus 150 or more this season, he is 4-0 straight up and 4-0 to the run line. So Ryan as a massive favorite, which we have here, the books are telling you this is a Minnesota spot by margin. So I think the only way to play this is Minnesota minus 1.5. They'll get it done today versus a terrible, abysmal Washington Nationals team.
Yeah, and I can see an over here as well. You saw 1-0 last night with Mackenzie Gore. Obviously, a bit of a coin flip. Both teams only had 3 hits in the game. Young pitcher Zebby Matthews performed great. It was really 2 young pitchers just really at the highest level of their quality. This line is high for a Joe Ryan game. 9 runs. I think you're going to see an explosion. Just let the line tell you the story. I don't love this game, but if you guys want to play this game, in my opinion, take the over. It's a really sharp look. Keeping it moving, we're getting much better stuff right now. Quick, fast, big-time stuff here. Fox Sports, Dodgers, Red Sox at Fenway. Big-time matchup here. 2 lefties, 2 generations. One is coming, one is going. Clayton Kershaw at Garrett Crochet. I couldn't be more excited to watch this game. This kid, Garrett Crochet, in my opinion right now, is actually pitching better than Tarek Skubal. He has looked elite time after time in recent history. Gunz, you got the hat on. We talk about this every single show. I think it actually means something tonight.
It really does. And I think this is the first time on any show content I'm going to be back in the Red Sox here. We have I call this the passing of the torch game. You have Clayton Kershaw, that was the heir apparent, the guy, the ace of the National League and maybe even the entire league altogether. Absolutely devastating pitcher. Going to be a Hall of Famer someday. 6-2 straight up in Kershaw's last 8 starts, but he's lost his last 2. So there's starting to regress here for Clayton Kershaw. Second time this year that Clayton Kershaw has been a dog. This is also the largest dog line that Kershaw has been. So take note of that. Kershaw is 1-2 straight up versus AL teams this year. And look at the teams that he's faced. Cleveland, the Angels, Chicago White Sox. The only win that he had in that sample size was against the Chicago White Sox. Guess what the line was in that game? Money line. -320. He was supposed to win that game, right? But you got Garrett Crochet. And this is the ace of the lineup. This is the future of the Boston Red Sox. 8-1 straight up in his last 9 starts. He's 8-2 straight up as a favorite of -150 or less as well. And Crochet has won 4 straight versus the NL. So if there's a win in this series that Boston can get, by God, it's this one. And the line is telling you that. You can get it at -144 right now, and I think it's a good number. So Boston's going to get it done today. Boston money line is the only way I'd play this game.
Yeah, I think this is an elite look. I love Boston here as well. Just a couple more points on this. Really nice buy low for Crochet at home, actually. He's only 4-5 straight up at Fenway Park. Started off incomprehensibly 1-5. He is 3-0 since. And that really is Crochet, and it's the Red Sox. If you guys remember, the Red Sox had 17 one-run losses before June 15th. Since then, they have found it. And, of course, this is an ex-World Series winning team and manager in Cora. So they were going to find it. They have. And Crochet actually has lost 2 games at home against the National League as a favorite this year. He lost to Atlanta 4-2. It was Chris Sale, so very similar matchup. Lefty, veteran, ace for the opponent. Key point in that game, only 2 solo shots against the entire game. He pitched great, just a total outlier. He also lost to the Mets and Tyler McGill. Same thing, he pitched great. Key point, both of those games were before May 21st. So it was when Boston really was finding ways to lose games just at the highest level. And Gunz mentioned it. Kershaw has not performed well this year at the American League. I went back to see if Kershaw had pitched in his career at Fenway Park, which is just an interesting historical fact. He hasn't pitched at Fenway Park since the 2018 World Series, Game 1. If you remember the 2018 World Series, that was a Boston win, 4-1. Shout out to you guys up in Boston, winning championships across all sports for decades now. But the Red Sox did get the title in 2018. It was a young Mookie Betts. It was a young Rafael Devers. It was Andrew Benintendi. It was Xander Bogaerts and others. Key point, though, Kershaw did not pitch well in Fenway Park. And I think it's more than just the postseason. I think it's Fenway Park. It's a foreign park. It's interleague. The monster's funky. There's a short pull down and right. I don't think he's going to function sight line-wise and comfortability-wise in this stadium. It's a national game. It's a heavy Boston spot. Take Boston and let's dominate. Next game on the card, Game 2, Guardians-Royals, also a national game on Fox, Kauffman Stadium in Missouri. We told you the first game lacked data and was kind of unpredictable. I think this is very predictable. Chris Bubich at home, also a buy low. Very similar conversation to what we just said about Garrett Crochet. This guy has great numbers at home. His win-loss record has not been very good. I think this is where you want to buy Kansas City in the matchup tonight. Gunz, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards the total on this one, but I think we split it in half between these two pitchers. Tanner Bybee on the mound. Cleveland has won his last 3 starts, right? Bybee has faced KC twice already. He's 2-0 in those both of those spots, giving up no runs after 5 innings in both those positions. So I think he's got this lineup figured out. And then you got Chris Bubich on the other side. Now KC has won Bubich's last 3 starts, but he's 1-4 straight up in his last 5 home starts. So take note of that. Bubich has faced his inside the division 4 times this year. And the totals in those games have averaged 2.25 runs in those situations. So another type of first 5 under is what I'm trying to get at here. And then the total after 5 innings in Bubich's home starts is averaged 2.89. So 8 out of the last 9 have been 4 runs or less when Bubich has been on the bump as well. So I think we're looking at a low-scoring affair here, but I'm willing to split it in half and leave the bullpens out of this one. Give me Cleveland, KC, under first 5. The only way I'd play this game.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a Kansas City spot. And this is, for me, this is actually a great handicap because this is kind of like we talk about in basketball where it's really a rivalry. It's a revenge. You get a lot of matchup data. As you mentioned, these pitchers have faced this opponent multiple times this year. Bybee is 2-0. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. And I think this is where you want to buy the Royals heads up against the Guardians because this is a divisional game. And the Royals are right behind the Guardians in the standings. They're a game and a half back. They got rained out last night. You know, we're almost to August where these are really kind of like playoff style environments where the games really matter going for playoff positioning. And if you really look at the actual splits here in terms of the run differential, KC has a worse record, 50-53. They're only minus 22 run differential. The Guardians are actually 500, 51-51, minus 35 run differential. The Guardians have an abysmal run differential. Total sell point here. The line is on Bubich. One final point. Bubich is 4-5 at home this year. I said he was like Crochet. Interestingly enough, same exact statistic, 4-5. Also contaminated. For whatever reason, he was 0-4 at home in June, and that was it. If it wasn't June, he's 4-1 at home. And I went to June to see why. He faced Detroit, the Yankees, the Rays, and the Dodgers. Those 4 opponents combined record 229, 183, plus 301 run differential for those opponents. So it was June. He faced basically all the class in the league. If it's not that, he's great. Take Kansas City and let's cash. Next game on the card, St. Louis hosting San Diego. Game 3, Busch Stadium, also in Missouri. This one in St. Louis. Interesting game here. Randy Vasquez came across to San Diego in the Juan Soto trade from the Yankees. This guy has gotten away with murder on the road. His whip is approaching 2. Every single start he pitches, he has runners on base like a laundry line. It is just unreal. I think this is a tough game. I'll lean towards the gun.
Yeah, Randy Vasquez, I said it earlier in the show, I think he's got a horseshoe up his ass because he's really been lucky in a lot of these wins. He's 5-2 straight up. San Diego is 5-2 straight up in Vasquez's last 7 road starts. You got to look at San Diego too, 5-1 to the run line and 4-2 in Vasquez's starts versus NL teams. So he's performed well versus this division in St. Louis. Also, 5-1 straight up and 5-1 to the under in Vasquez's last 6 starts as a dog of plus 140 or less. So use in these type of line structures versus an NL opponent, NL Central opponent for that matter, he's performed well. And then you got Liberatore. He's 4-1 straight up in his last 5 starts. He's 4-1 to the over in his last 5, but 1-3 straight up in his last 4 starts and 1-4 to the run line at home. So he's underperformed in home starts. A lot of those conditions in his last 5 have been on the road. Highest favorite here for Liberatore, which is a little bit head scratcher on this one, but there is some correlation there. When he is a favorite of minus 125 or more, he's 1-3 straight up in those situations. So while I'm not really keened in to taking San Diego on the money line, just because it kind of been not playing great baseball as of late, I think the run line has some validity on this one. Not an official play on this one, may not even make my card, but if I was going to play this one, I'm going to take San Diego plus 1.5. The only way I'd play this one.
Yeah, just to give a little more clarity to this game, as I said, Vasquez on the road, we talk about this in all sports, but sometimes guys are really just fool's gold. This dude is 6-4 straight up on the road, only 45 2/3 innings pitched, 46 hits, 24 walks, somehow only 22 earned runs. This is like robbing the bank and getting away with it every day for 6 months. Maybe our guy Brandon knows about that, sitting in jail right now. But this is what Randy Vasquez is. He's been getting away with crime all season. At some point, he's going to get caught. I think it's tonight. St. Louis is hot. They're hitting pitchers like this. You saw it 2 nights ago. They teed off on Darvish, really a pedestrian right-hander. I think Vasquez fits that model as well. And Liberatore here, I think he's a buy low. He's looked awful recently. 1-3 last 4, as Gunz said. 20 earned runs in his last 19 innings pitched. But here's the key point. He was great at home before that. Only 6 earned runs in his first 32 innings pitched. And the Cardinals gave him a lot of time off. He hasn't pitched since Friday, July 11th. That is just over 2 weeks ago. I think he'll come back rejuvenated and focused. And final point on this, only time this year Liberatore faced an NL West opponent at home as a favorite. He was a small favorite at home against the Diamondbacks, and Merrill Kelly did win the game 6-5. I think this is really a top look here for the Cardinals. Little disagreement here. We got a lot of data at this point in the season. We'd love to bring the conversation. Let's dominate. Next game on the card, 9:05. That is 6:05 Pacific in San Francisco, Oracle Park. Mets-Giants game 2. Last night you saw that the Mets jump all over Logan Webb. The game was over. It was early. It was just a complete off-grid game in terms of projections. I think this is where it normalizes tonight in terms of a pitcher's duel. Robbie Ray, great at home. David Peterson, also very good road. David Peterson does not win on the road, but he does pitch well. Gunz, I think we're going to see a pitcher's duel tonight. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I think if you're looking at the total on this one, I think it's under a pass. When you look at Peterson, though, Peterson, not a great road pitcher. His numbers are not great, especially for the New York Mets. 1-8 straight up in his 9 road starts this year. New York Mets are 2-4 straight up when he's the favorite of minus 140 or less on the road, too. So take note of that. Well, all together with all the pitching. But you got to look at Robbie Ray on this one. Robbie Ray has performed well for the San Francisco Giants. He's 8-3 straight up, 9-2 to the under. In his home starts. And you got to look at San Francisco, 3-1 straight up in Rays starts versus the NL East. So he's performed well against the NL East, and he performs well at home. Also, San Francisco, 5-1 straight up in Rays starts as a favorite of minus 135 or less. So the line structure fits. He's facing a conference opponent that he's done well against, and he's a good home pitcher. So all those tie in to where I like to go with this one. I think San Francisco is going to get it done. While they played absolutely terrible in a slugfest, game did go over. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring affair, so I do lean towards the under in this one. However, I think the side is stronger, so give me San Francisco money line as the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think that San Francisco probably does win this game. Just a couple corollary points here. Right at home versus NL out-of-division opponents, 5-2 win against Milwaukee, 4-3 win against Philadelphia. Key point, both went under the total. And as I said, David Peterson is a home pitcher. He's actually 10-0 at Citi Field. We backed him correctly last weekend. This is why you want to fade him. Key point, though, he loses, but he doesn't pitch poorly. If you go to a bunch of his starts, particularly road out-of-division starts at West Coast time, he did go under twice on low lines, 3-1 at Oakland, under 8.5. And within this division at Arizona, at Zach Gallen, same line, 7.5, 5-1 final. I think you're going to see a very similar game to that. 5-1, 4-1, 3-2, 3-1, something like that. This probably does project towards San Francisco to win. Under is also a great look. Great stuff in this game, and we will keep it moving. Final game on the card, also a national game here to cap off this Saturday card. MLB Network, 9:38 p.m. Eastern. That is 6:38 in Anaheim. Angels-Mariners game 3. George Kirby at Tyler Anderson. You saw it last night. Angels got the win. VIP clients had Angels with me last night. I think this is a zigzag series. I think this probably leans towards Seattle tonight. Gunz, late night pick, late night DGen special. Anything going on here?
You know, I love the late night degenerate specials. Normally it's more football oriented or college football oriented, or let's bring the late night degenerate special right here to the MLB show. I agree with you on this one, but I'm taking a different angle as far as the side is concerned. But you got to look at George Kirby, 6-2 straight up in his last 8 starts. Highest line for Kirby as a favorite on the road, by the way, and he's 2-1 in those positions as a road favorite. Also, Kirby has already faced Anderson this year. He faced him on the road, so a similar type of position. He did it on June 8th. He was a -122 road favorite in that spot. He did win that game 3-2. The total was 9 in that matchup, by the way. So you're seeing the line a little bit higher in this position against Anderson. Of course, Anderson, the Angels have not performed with him, and especially in his last 8 starts, 2-6 straight up when he's been on the bump. He's also a little bit concerned, another trend on this one, 6-3 straight up in Anderson's home starts, but Anderson is 1-4-2 in first 5's last 7 home games. So it's not Anderson that's getting the wins. It's them coming from behind and getting to the bullpen. So I'm going to split this game in half. I think that between pitcher versus pitcher, Kirby versus Anderson, Kirby will get it done. So if I'm going to take this game, I'm taking first 5. Give me Seattle money line first 5 as the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And, a conversation we've had about Anderson for a while this season is that he's not good on the road. He's good at home. It seems to be coming the other direction recently. His first 5 home starts, only 9 earned runs in 34 2/3 innings pitched. His last 3 home starts, 8 earned runs, 18 hits against in only 14 1/3. This guy's older. He's not really an ace quality pitcher. I think he's going to get hit tonight. And I think Kirby's a nice buy low. Kirby did start this season coming off an injury, 0-3. He's 6-2 since. He's coming off a home loss against Milwaukee on Monday night, 6-0. He is 2-0 off of a previous loss, last 2. He is a bounce back pitcher. And as I mentioned, I think this is just a zigzag series. I think you're going to see you saw Mariners on Friday or on Thursday, Angels last night. I think it's Mariners tonight. Final point on this, yet again, the run differential conversation. This is pretty emphatic stuff. The Mariners are 55-49 plus 18. So that makes sense. They're kind of on the mean there. The Angels are 50-54, only 4 games under 500, -66 run differential. That is egregious. The Angels are a sell team in this metric point. Love the Mariners late night. We give you guys a lot of looks on this show because we know when you guys tune in with us, we prep hours for this to give you guys the top information. That's why you guys get a lot of data. So you guys, we've given you guys about 15 looks on this show, and we got best bets. July 26th, the Shark and the Gun on a Saturday. Gunz picks, best bets.
Let's give them 2. Kumar Rocker at home as a home favorite. That's one of my favorite plays today. And of course, we're going with my man Crochet. I'm wearing the hat for a reason for the first time on the show. My hat is engaged, as Shark would say. Boston money line full game. Those are the 2 that I love the most. Oh yeah, and Seattle money line F5. I like those 3.
I'll give you guys 2 as well. Baltimore Orioles, Trevor Rogers on the bump, -1.5. That is -130. And I'll jump on with the gun. I love Boston today. Take the -144. Changing of the guard. Clayton Kershaw, 2008 till now. Crochet in Boston, first campaign. Let's dominate. Let's put together a quick parlay, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Gunz, start us off.
Boston money line.
All right.
Minnesota money line. Texas money line.
All right, we'll go with Baltimore money line too.
Sure.
Royals game 2 money line.
Seattle money line.
Seattle money line. What else?
Got to throw a total in there, right?
Yeah, do we have any good totals? I thought there was a sharp total in Minnesota, but I don't really love merging there. And also sometimes parlays you can't do 2 sides in the same game.
Right. What do you think about the Detroit-Toronto under?
Sketchy for me because I think that Skubal has looked worse at home, and Gausman is capable of a blow up, particularly at 6 o'clock. It's a little funky.
What about Miami-Milwaukee under? What do you think about that one?
What's the line there?
8.5.
That seems a little high given the quality of these pitchers in this spot. Like I said, Quintana's great in this spot, 4-0 at home and outside of the division. Jansen's been great. I don't know. That could be a sketchy over. Let's go with under in the Mets game. That's a great look. Peterson, Ray, we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, so putting it up on the screen in a second here. Okay. Throw that on the screen, Gunz.
Yep, got it.
All right, Saturday, July 26, 2025, parlay. And again, this is pizza money, guys. It's whatever you want to call it. Throw $5, whatever, $5. Enjoy it. Just sweat it out throughout the evening. Enjoy a beer, whatever you're going to do. Just have some fun. Boston money line. Gunz has the hat on. The buy hat is engaged. Minnesota money line. Texas money line. Baltimore money line. KC game 2. That is Bubich, Bybee money line. Seattle money line late night. And Mets versus Giants under. Hour and 7 minutes in the books. It is Saturday morning into the afternoon on the East Coast. It is still the morning on the Pacific Coast. We appreciate you guys in the chat hanging out with us in the morning. If you guys are watching later, we appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day to enjoy a great conversation about baseball with us. Gunz, a pleasure. Give them some words, and I'll close it out.
Yeah, appreciate everybody in the chat joining, especially even guys in the clink, basically watching this show. Hey, make sure you hide your phone when the guards come by your cage. But give a shout out to everybody if you want to go check us out and all the content. I'm going to do a free card today for VIP. So all my plays are going to be free on my Telegram today. When I have a bad day, I owe it to the people to show what I can actually do. It's going to be a bounce back day for me. So please go to my Telegram, Why Lose Gunz, and also go check out the Shark, Why Lose Shark. We have special deals that are going on. I know Shark's got a special deal for the NFL season right now. I got a special deal here for the college football season right now. And get my season for $100. Go check that out. Sale ends today, guys. I'm going to cut that sale off today. If you don't join me for the college football season, I've been exceptional, 112 units over the last 4 years in college football. So I digress. Let's keep it moving. And that's going to do it here for Saturday. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, Sunday, 11 a.m. Let's do it. Let's have ourselves a damn Saturday.
Absolutely. We see you guys in the chat. Peter Gracia, our guy, Brandy, billionaire. Let's go. Ross Child the Great says, not going to lie, good show, fellas. We appreciate that. We love to bring it to you guys. Have a great day, guys. For Jay Cavalier, cashing tickets around the world, the prop master, Luke Shuey, and Coach Rick. He is the gun. I am the shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I can't.